We're back today talking about success. And by that, I mean success that comes from the heart. We're not looking at the big figures, the big houses, the big cars, and all of those things. We're looking at the kind of legacy you leave behind you. And I've got the delightful Sue Plumtree with me today. And so I'm going to ask you that question, Sue. For you, what does success mean?
It means a number of things. Having finally developed the most extraordinary relationship with my husband. I'm 79. We met when we were 70. I leave behind debris from my very first marriage when I was young. I was married at 37. I made so many mistakes, from choosing him in the first place for all the wrong reasons. And then throughout the marriage, more and more mistakes. When I finally left with the help of a life coach, I realized how I had contributed. And as painful as it was incredibly liberating, because I can only change myself. And so that's what I did over the next 10 years. I lived on my own, which I enjoyed to my amazement. I had never lived alone on my own. So when I wrote my first book, my autobiography, I wanted people to know that they're not alone, that they don't have to stay in a painful place. And I had fun. And if you look at my website, you will see on the homepage, I am paragliding when I was 70 and having the time of my life. And I thought I had everything I needed. I had friendships that I'd never had before. And I figured out why I had that amazing friendships. I want to understand. That's a big thing in my life. Why does something work? And then I can share it. And I use everything I learned when I met Dave. I refer to him as my wonderful husband, Dave. He's not just Dave, my husband, he's my wonderful. And everything I learned about how love really works, we're learning it together. And there's some things that you can't transplant, it's not possible, because you need Dave, and you can't have him. But there is a lot that I teach people about how love works and how they can create it. And to do what I did in my 10 years, I got to know myself, what I needed to feel loved. I had no idea. I got to like myself and respect myself and accept myself. And so when I met him, we recognized each other. So learning to really like yourself, like myself, because I like to walk the talk. I never ask people to do anything I wouldn't do myself. And so for me, success is true love, my friends, my husband, my work. It gives me a huge sense of fulfillment.
I think what a wonderful answer is that. If you're listening to us and something that Sue said has just touched you, because I suspect for many of you, perhaps you don't love yourself. So it may be that something's just stirred in your heart and you're realizing that you don't know what Sue's talking about. You haven't experienced it yet. Then hold on, because we're going to help you to do that. And Sue certainly can do. So I love that. The knowledge of the impact actually of loving yourself is more powerful than any words can express. And it's the starting place, isn't it, for moving on and moving forward in your life as you found. So with your clients, what is it that you help them to do? I'm assuming that you help them to love themselves. So what kind of impact does that have for them?
Well, for one thing, they don't settle for second best. So many people, so many women in particular, for some reason in particular, who believe that they don't deserve to be fully loved. When I've done a workshop that I don't do again, because they have not been able to even reflect on what are their requirements, what are their non-negotiables. They don't believe that they can have non-negotiables. And so the learning, it's not just learning to love yourself is like an umbrella term. Underneath comes learning to know yourself, learning to like yourself, respect yourself, accept yourself, and then how to communicate in a way that people can hear you. But most importantly is to be able to make better choices because you know you deserve them. Identify what works for you and what doesn't, because most people live on automatic pilot. We've been in a habitual way of thinking. So I work with people's mindset so they begin to notice, to become more self-aware. And I do that in particular in my 3-month program, where there are lots of questions, there are lots of exercises for them to reflect on, and so that they can get new insights about who they are.
You know, you're touching on such an important point here. There are many, many people who, as you say, live on autopilot, and that's based very often, isn't it, on how they were brought up, you know, the experiences that they had, that they've almost just taken for granted. It's just like that walks, almost sleepwalked into who they are and how they're behaving today. So you've just listened to a taste of Sue's wisdom, her magic, as I would like to call it. And you can experience it more, of course, because she works with clients to help them achieve that ability to make the right choices for themselves. And that is so important. So, Sue, is there an email? Is there some way that people can get in touch with you?
Yes, it's Sue at sueplumtree.com.
Lovely. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming, first of all. We're going to be sharing Sue's email address with you so that you can also link up with her and have a conversation. And if you've got a story to share yourself, if you'd like to be part of this and be able to share your view of success and the things that have worked for you, and get in touch with me, Angela Roth at Succeed from the Start, because I would love to talk to you as well. Thank you again, Sue, for sharing your magic.
Thank you.